Me and my wife Hannah, we've been in Serbia now for about 4.5 years, um, serving here in the Eurasia region. Uh, we've had two sons born here, um, and we have been pretty much pioneering the work of the Church of the Nazarene here in Serbia. So there had been some short-term teams who had been here in Serbia doing work with refugees, with displaced people. Uh, but we've been the first really more long-term people, and so we came to set up NCM work with refugees, uh, and to have the long-term goal of church planting, uh, starting a new church in a new place. So me and Hannah, we got married in 2018, and then we came to Serbia in 2020. So uh, I had served a little bit in Croatia for a couple of years doing work with refugees before we got married. Um, and we got here right before the pandemic, which was very interesting. Um, and Yeah, so we've been able to be here. We've been able to work with a lot of different groups of people from a lot of different places. In our 4.5 years, we've seen uh, very different groups of people in our work with displaced people, with refugees. So when we first got here, we were going to some camps, working with people who were still here, kind of left over from the Syrian refugee crisis. Um, there were a lot of people from Iran, Syria, Iraq, uh, Afghanistan, and we were able to get to know and disciple a small group of people who were believers um, during the pandemic when everything was really shut down. Um, and so that was kind of our first phase of work, I guess. And then at the end of 2021, pretty much all those people that we had been working with left. Uh, and so we were kind of figuring out what to do at that point. And then a huge wave of young men from Afghanistan started coming into Serbia, uh, as a result of the Taliban takeover there in Afghanistan. So we started working in camps again, this time with Afghan guys, people who had been coming through Turkey and Bulgaria into Serbia, doing a whole lot of walking. And that was the most like transit type of ministry. It was really just humanitarian in nature, because these guys were coming through and only here for like an average of 10 days or so. So we kind of had a small window to serve them, uh, show them some love, talk to them about Jesus a little bit, kind of as an introduction to Christianity for them. And then, they would move on to Europe. So, and around that same time, um, we started to notice a lot of people coming in from Russia and Ukraine. So we kind of had another wave in the last few years of predominantly Russian speaking people, mostly Russian citizens, actually. So Serbia is one of the few places that Russian people can go to these days, because it's pretty friendly toward Russia. So they're still coming in, and so we started to think about like what was next, I guess. And we realized that the Russian people coming were people who are probably going to stay here longer, be here kind of medium term to long term. And so most of these people that we've been working with are there's a lot of IT workers, a lot of IT companies that have moved here. So a lot of younger families, And so we applied for an NCM project in working with these Russian people. And we opened up a center, found a space to rent that we started with about a year and a half ago. And so around that same time, we actually got some missionaries originally from Russia to work with us. Olga Druzhinina and Alexei Shipovalov. Maybe some of you know them. Yeah, so they've been with us for about a year and a half, I guess almost 2 years now. And so we've started this ministry together to displaced Russian people, and it's been really interesting just how things have changed in our work here, and how we've been able to have this NCM project. This space that we rent is right in the center of Belgrade, a good place for people to come, centrally located by the bus station. And it's been really cool to see community develop through this space, through this ministry. We've got a lot of things going on, like English classes and Bible studies, workshops, and it's been really cool to see that we're not going to refugee camps anymore like we did, because there's not so much of a need. But a lot of the Russian people who have connected with our community center, they have connected with Russians living in the asylum center camps, the refugee camps. So we've been able to minister to those people, kind of not directly, in an indirect way, I guess, through the people that have benefited from our project, which is really cool. And so that's mainly what we've been doing, and we've always had other things going on. Like we've had partnerships in other areas since we've been here as pioneer missionaries, trying to get to know other people, reach out to more people, through partnerships. So we attend and help out at a international church, English speaking church here. And also we've had a Bible study in a smaller town in Serbia, about an hour from Belgrade, where we live, and it's called Smederevo. So Smederevo is a city of 50,000 people, and it's one of several cities in Serbia that are about that size, smaller towns, smaller cities that don't have any evangelical church at all. So we've been there trying to reach out, get to know people. We've been having Bible studies there for a couple of years, small group. So we're still really praying about being able to reach Serbian people, especially in that city. We really feel burdened to continue work there. Feel like God has something big planned for that city, but it's a slow going. So something about Serbia that's important. Serbian people are mostly Orthodox Christians. The Serbian Orthodox Church is very important, for culture here, for the identity of people. For them to be Serbian and to be Orthodox are kind of the same thing. It's just like who they are. They're Orthodox. And so we found that there are a lot of people who are curious about the Bible and about Jesus, because they don't know much at all about the Bible. They're not reading it on their own. It's not being recommended for them to read on their own from the Orthodox Church usually. So we try to build relationships and meet with people and teach them the Bible. So we've done that a lot, and we've had a lot of people who are really curious, and they learn with us for a while, study with us for a while, and then when it comes time to really make a commitment to Jesus, a lot of people shy away from that. So we really need prayer for those walls to be broken down, in those relationships that we continue, and relationships that we make also. So, all right, so here's the family. This picture is a year old. So our two sons, Benson and Bo. Benson is 3 now, and Bo is 1.5. So Benson has he just started preschool in Serbia in a Serbian class. So he still speaks English with everybody, but he's starting to pick up the language, learning some words here and there. He understands. So, but yeah, he's adjusting there in school. And both of these little guys were born here in Serbia. So yeah, putting down roots here. Yeah, and just to reiterate, like when we got here, it was kind of still the refugee crisis was still going on. A lot of people waiting in camps to receive asylum, and so we were able to work with these people who had been through these kind of moments in crowded places in Serbia, trying to figure out where to go to the next country or to get put into a camp or something. And here's the location of Serbia, if you guys didn't know already, right in the middle of the Balkans. So this is why we've had a lot of displaced people come through, is because they're trying to go to the European Union, basically, coming through Turkey, and then most of them end up in Serbia at some point, depending on where the wave is going, depending on how difficult borders are at whatever time it is. And Serbia is Orthodox, like I said. This is the biggest Orthodox church in Serbia. It's actually not called St. Nicholas. It's St. Sava's church. I don't know how that got. Yeah, and we live in Belgrade. It's the capital city. So Belgrade was the capital of Yugoslavia as well. And so this is where we're living, putting down roots, and just trying to follow what God has for us here. Yeah, and so these are some of the partnerships we've had, like with being able to get into the camp to work with all the Afghan guys. This is a ministry on the left where we were able to get into this camp with a partnership with OM, Operation Mobilization. And I put Jay in one of those OM shirts and took a picture of him. So I thought that was. So this was a tent in which we were able to spend a lot of time with these guys as they were coming through. We had games set up, and we would always make them coffee and tea. So it was a really cool ministry when we had a lot of Afghan guys coming through. And this year in Serbia, the situation has changed a lot with refugees. All the camps in our area of Serbia, the more northern part, most of them have been shut down. And so they're sending people down in South Serbia on the border with like Kosovo, Bosnia, Montenegro. And then they're going through Bosnia these days and into Croatia to get into the European Union. So there's not nearly as many of them that we see around Belgrade anymore. So, and then this is the partnership we've had with the International Church. Here we've been able to baptize people and really see growth in that church. And this was a baptism we did in the Danube River. So it wasn't that dirty that day when in the river. So usually we don't recommend swimming there. Yeah, so this is just some pictures of Smederevo, some of the people that we've been teaching, and the big fortress that's there in the city. Yeah, so please pray for Smederevo and for the opportunities there to continue to share with people the love of Jesus and teach them the Bible. Really cool little place. And so here's some pictures of the NCM work we've done with Russian displaced people. You can see Alexei teaching here on the right, teaching some Old Testament stuff. So it's been really cool to see community build through this. And we've been able to get people into our space through workshops and English classes, and really share with them the love of God, and then invite them into the Bible studies. And that has worked with several people, several non-believers who have become a part of our community. So going forward, like a big prayer request, probably the biggest prayer request that we have is, and this is just a picture of the English classes that we teach. And here's an example of the ways that the Russian people have connected with other Russians in need and provided things like clothing and food for them. This is something they've done on their own, that they wanted to do and use our space to do. And the biggest prayer request that we have is for church planting. We're this fall, we're taking steps to start a worship service in Russian. And so we're asking people right now to be a part of a launch team for a church through people who have been coming to our events, our Bible studies. So it's interesting, through this space, we've seen these people really do things that looks a lot like a church, caring for people in the community in need, studying the Bible together, worshiping together. So we really want to go forward intentionally with making it a church and not just an NCM center. So pray for that as we ask people to be leaders with us in that. And so if you want to connect with us, here's my email address here. And you can ask to be added to our newsletter.